Hello, boys and girls. Today we're going to read 2 chapters of this book that I found. I thought you would be excited. Mr. Putter and Tabby Drop the Ball by Cynthia Rylant and Arthur Howard. This book is realistic fiction, just like we've been doing in writing. And we are going to look at quotation marks. After I read the first 2 chapters to you, we're going to look back in the book and we're going to look at how the characters talk in a story. And I want you to focus on quotation marks in your writing this week, making your characters talk in your stories. Mr. Putter and Tabby drop the ball. Mr. Putter and Tabby drop the ball. And Arthur Howard is the illustrator. Chapter 1, Baseball. Chapter 2, The Team. Chapter 3, The Dandies. Chapter 4, Drop the Ball. Chapter 5, What a Day. Chapter 1, Baseball. Mr. Putter and his fine cat Tabby love to nap in the summertime. They love napping in the garden. They love napping on the porch. They love napping in the car. It seems that we nap all the time, Mr. Putter said to Tabby one day. Tabby was old and her frisky days were over. She loved napping. I think we need a sport, said Mr. Putter. Tabby opened one eye. I think we need baseball, said Mr. Putter. Tabby opened the other eye. I wonder where my old mitt is, said Mr. Putter. He headed to the basement. Tabby was wide awake now. Chapter 2, The Team. Mr. Putter found his mitt. Now all we need is a team, he told Tabby. Mr. Putter called his friend and neighbor, Mrs. Teaberry. Mrs. Teaberry would know about a team. She was very sporty. She even walked the dog-a-thon with her good dog, Zeke. Of course there's a team, said Mrs. Teaberry. It's called the Yankee Doodle Dandies. Am I too old to play? Asked Mr. Putter. Heavens, no, said Mrs. Teaberry, handing Zeke a sniffy bone. You will feel young on that team. Will my knees feel young on that team? Asked Mr. Putter. You are not too old, and neither am I, said Mrs. Teaberry. We'll both play. Mr. Putter hung up the phone. I hope I'm not too old, he said to Tabby. Tabby just purred. To her, Mr. Putter was perfect. And then we're at chapter 3, so we're going to stop reading there, but now I'm going to do our lesson real quick. So I want you to stop whatever you're doing, and we could even do like we do in class. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Very good. If you did it with me, great job. All right, so we're going to look at quotation marks because you have characters in your stories that you're doing for writing. You should be writing 30 minutes a day by yourself. Realistic fiction, we do this every day, and I'm there to help you when you need me, but you write for a good 20 to 30 minutes in class each day. So I know that you can do this when you're at home too. Your characters, they talk, right? People talk. So in your story, you want your story to be more of, one day, Luke went to the beach. Luke liked going to the beach. It was fun to him. And we tell what that person feels, and we tell what they think and say. But when we write quotations and write exactly what they say, then it's more realistic. It comes directly from that character. So instead of saying, Mrs. Teaberry told Mr. Putter there was a team called the Yankee Doodle Dandies, you could word it in quotations. And these are quotation marks. So right when you start talking, there's one. When you stop talking, there's one, and then you have to tell who's talking. So then you have to say, said somebody, or you can start it. Someone said, but let's look at this. Of course there's a team. There's our quotes, because this is exactly what Mrs. T. Berry said. Of course there's a team, so it's surrounded by these quotation marks. Said Mrs. T. Berry. It's called the Yankee Doodle Dandy. So she keeps talking, so those are still quotations. Then it comes down to the next line, and am I too old to play? And then we would not know if that was Mr. Putter or Mrs. T. Berry if that did not say, asked Mr. Putter. If we left that part off, then the reader might think that Mrs. T. Berry was still saying, am I too old to play? So anytime it switches and your character stops talking and another one starts, you have to remember that you have to put said or asked or told. You have to write who is talking. But here again, heavens no, quotations, said Mrs. T. Berry, handing Zeke a sniffy bone. So on that one, that's pretty cool. It said who said it, and then it kind of told what she was doing. And we can see exactly what she was doing in the picture. So right here at this point, out of her mouth, she's saying, heavens no. And that's her handing him the bone as she says it. And it tells us right there in our story. And that's why details are so, so important to our reader. You will feel young on that team. And, you know, it doesn't say, said Mrs. T. Berry, because it just said it right here. So we just have to guess, because it didn't say, said Mr. Putter, it's still Mrs. T. Berry talking. Okay, so I know that was confusing maybe to some of you. So listen, one more time. When people talk, quotation marks at the front, write what that person said, close it with quotations, okay? And then you just have to say who said it. Said so-and-so. Luke wanted to go to the beach. Quotations. I want to go to the beach. Mom. Then I do another quotation. Said Luke. It's kind of hard for Miss George to teach you whenever I don't see you face to face like we usually do, but I think some of you can get it. Especially if you look in your books and you find quotation marks and read it. Read the book, look at the quotations, and ask yourself, what did this writer do? Okay, they wrote, will my knees feel young on that team? Asked Mr. Putter. They wrote what the character said, and then they said who asked it or said it. So the rest of this week, I want you to focus on adding quotations to your writing. And then next week, I will read you a few more chapters, and we will focus on something else. So next week, Miss George is not going to talk to you about quotation marks, okay? So I know that my lesson was a little long today, but I want to start you off on your week with a lesson, and then tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, you write as much as you can using quotation marks, and then we'll meet back up on Tuesdays in our small group. All right? All right. Sounds good. I will see ya soon. Good luck.